Good evening. My name is Amber Carpenter, and this assignment here is for the Chapter 4, the MBA decision on Ben Bates. Ben Bates is a 28-year-old. He is a finance undergrad student, has a degree in finance. He is employed currently in the finance department at the East Coast Yachts, making approximately $62,000 a year. His goal is to become an investment banker, therefore he feels like getting an MBA degree is necessary in order to complete that goal. So far, he has narrowed it down to two different universities, one being the Wilton University and the other being the Mount Perry College. Both of these schools offer internships during the time that he attends, but they are not allowing him to hold down a paying job during this time. So that is going to be a factor in choosing to pursue that MBA. He does have enough savings, although, in his account to cover the cost of those MBA programs, and it doesn't state whether he has to choose one or the other to cover those costs. So it looks like since he's been employed at East Coast Yachts for over 6 years, he is going to be able to cover that tuition at either college. So this is just a MBA program comparison that I've done here, just showing the income tax rate if he stayed currently with the East Coast Yachts at his current position, if he attended the Mount Perry College or the Wilton University. And as you can see, as far as the income rate increase or on the tax rate or the increase per year, those are pretty similar in those numbers there. Are not going to make much of a difference unless it's long term. The signing bonus, obviously, if he stays where he's at, he's not going to get a signing bonus. If he goes with the Mount Perry, it's a $15,000. If he decides to go to Wilton University, he's looking at possibly a $20,000 sign-on bonus. He has a potential job offer, depending on the current economy at that time, at a significant increase than his current salary of $62,000. So that's a huge benefit there to look at. He is looking at some minimal cost of those books and supply cost that he would have to endure for that. One of the biggest difference is the 1 year tuition as opposed to the 2 year, that you will see the cost difference there between the Wilton University and the Mount Perry. So then we get back to the decision making here. So one of the first questions is, does his age affect his decision to get his MBA? Luckily, Ben is at the age where, he is already been working for 6 years, so in his professional field. Luckily, he has saved up quite a bit of money in order to pay for his MBA with zero debt, so that's a huge pro. He's still young enough to be able to pivot positively in his workforce, where it's not going to make a negative impact on him, unlike waiting until later on in his career. He's still going to have time to maximize his return on investment and going to have a potentially not have to worry about a potential career interruption by doing that. So the next thing we're going to look at is his non-quantifiable factors. The most largest and one that was revealed to us while it affected his decision to get the MBA was his his goal of becoming the investment banker. Even though that he was in a stable job and satisfied at that job, he felt that in order to pursue his goal at becoming an investment banker, he would have to get that MBA. A non-quantifiable factor that could affect anyone's decision to get their MBA at this age and was not discussed in this case is their personal responsibilities, which could burden many non-traditional students in general. Assuming that all salaries are paid at the end of each year, which is the best option for Ben from strictly financial standpoint, by calculating this, I found that strictly from the financial standpoint, the best option would be for Ben to attend the Ritter College of Business at Wilton. This would make Ben more financially stable by calculating the cumulative net value, showing him to earn approximately 27% more at the end of his 40-year career than he would be if he attended the Mount Prairie College. Also, by getting that total, I first calculated the total cost of the tuition for the both options, and also factoring the loss of wages since Ben wasn't going to be able to hold his current job during that time, and the fact that he had planned on working an additional 40 years before retiring. So suppose that instead of being able to pay cash for his MBA, that Ben must borrow the money, and that currently the borrowing rate is 5.8%. How would this affect Ben's decision to get his MBA? So 5.8% is quite a bit whenever you look at a tuition of $132,000 for the 2 years of tuition if he decided to go to the Wilton. So typically a repayment for that would be a 10-year repayment plan, making that a monthly payment of $1,450 a month, which is probably about average of someone's mortgage today. So after you add that up, you're going to have a total repayment of $174,000 with a total payment of interest of $42,000. So it's quite an increase. You're also going to calculate the opportunity cost that you're going to factor in there, which is going to be the 2 years of lost income. So the income difference by year 10, because you're going to base this on looking at that over a 20-year return. So it's going to be 66% higher, the MBA with the MBA salary, and then after the 20-year, you're going to have a 97,000% higher, 97,000 higher by 20 after the MBA. And so then you're going to calculate the true cost of your MBA, which is your tuition loan plus your lost wages, which is a total of $298,000. So basically then you would want to look at your long-term return on an investment, which by taking your MBA cumulative salary, basically over long term after your 40 years before taxes and also including inflation, you're going to be looking at still earning approximately $1.1 million had he not gone and get his MBA. So in conclusion, regardless if you have a long-term or a short-term goal to achieve, a higher education is going to get you further and can be more profitable and valuable in the long run. It's never too late to further your education, because one thing it is that you can earn yourself and it can never be taken away from you. As a non-traditional student pursuing my MBA, that is definitely one thing that I've always told myself and found myself to continue to push for, no matter how hard it gets. Thank you for your time.